Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here with a community cast from Hadriz. He's going to be taking on Zablaski's Wood Elves with BRETONNIA here, so let's go ahead and get to the builds. We've got two Paladins leading the way in the air with two Royal Pegasus Knights. Fey Enchantress is the general. For the rest of the army, we've got Knights Errant here. In the front line, looks like some Spearmen at Arms, no shields. Lots of peasant arrows with pox and fire. Nope, looks like just fire. We've also got two more Knights Errant over on the side there, including the Regiment of Renown. As for the Wood Elves, we've got lots of spear infantry, as to be expected. Azrai spears, some Eternal Guards, and more Azrai spear on the flank. Front line of Dryads with a unit of War Dancers as well. Some Way Watchers here for AP missiles. Sisters of Thorn for support. Spellsinger Lore of Shadows, and I believe a Glady on horseback. So, very interesting stuff. You can see Zablaski moving towards the woods. Obviously, Cav getting debuffed in the woods, and his troops just fighting better from the woods is going to be very important here. Way Watchers throwing some shots into those defenders. Pretty good target. Only 850 points, though, means it's not the biggest loss for BRETONNIA. They do get some models picked off there, but Fey Enchantress is going to come in, not get too crazy here. She doesn't want to get too caught out, but she's going to get in here and to get her Fey Drain effect going. It also gives negative melee attack as well, so you can see those War Dancers down to only 26 melee attack. And here come the Pegasus Knights with a beautiful side charge once the bracing bonus has been broken by the Fey. And even with the bracing bonus, Wood Elf infantry is light enough that, especially in lance formation, these Knights can get in here and get some excellent charges. So already, great damage being done on that line. A response, though, Shield of Thorns here. Great job from Zablaski. We're going to be pouring in Peasant Archer fire here, literal fire, and it looks like an Awakening of the Wood in the back line to debuff the speed of those Way Watchers and do a bit of area of effect damage as well. As for the main engagement, no surprises. Peasant mobs getting absolutely mopped up, but as a result, that doesn't mean these Dryads and War Dancers and more are going to get a little bit separated from the rest of their army. Knights pull back here, have taken some losses on some Knights Errant, but also have done quite a bit of damage to some high-value units as well. You can see those Azrai Spear have been punished pretty badly. The Way Watchers are able to get a few effective volleys into the Royal Pegasus Knights, but unfortunately, Royal Pegasus Knights don't get staggered by their arrows like so many other units do, and with their massive speed, they are able to easily catch these Way Watchers here, so yeah, this is going to turn into a bad situation for these Way Watchers very, very quickly. You can see here, looks like another Shield of Thorns, Earthblood actually, on those Royal Pegasus Knights to keep them nice and healthy. We do have some Eternal Guard trying to support here, but you can see the massive damage being done to those Way Watchers already. Very cost-effective. Paladin drops down with his anti-large bonus, of course, and his good stats. He'll be more than a match for the Glady in combat, despite her excellent combat stats as compared to his. That bonus versus large and the armor differential definitely makes a huge difference there. So very good stuff for the Paladin. Meanwhile, here, these Royal Pegasus Knights do get mopped up, but after having gotten some excellent damage done, these Royal Pegasus Knights are going to try and get back up in the air. Looks like they have managed to get an XP chevron. If we take a look here, Dryads engaged on some Spearmen at Arms, doing well, but getting rear charged by the defenders. The Sisters of Thorn also caught up in combat as the War Dancers start to push the pocket here a little bit, start to push these peasants away. You can see them running for their absolute lives. That's what we like to see, right? Peasants doing their duty quite well, just getting absolutely butchered there. So all things considered, pretty close. We have a look over here. We've got more Pegasus Knights, and the two Paladins both drop down here. Unfortunately, there are a lot of spears supporting for the Wood Elves here, so it could be potentially a tough situation, but the Fey Enchantress routing some units off here, and it does look like these Knights Errant may be able to get free and clean up some of these tattered Way Watchers here. Over here, these War Dancers managed to get a hold of a handful of Pegasus Knights, or maybe the Pegasus Knights drop down on top of them, but still, this is the issue with the Wood Elves, is even in the woods, even with your bracing bonus, with anti-large AP, just the lack of armor and the lack of mass means they get run over so hard by heavy cavalry. So, looks like Prey of Anathrema, they're going to pin that Paladin in place and allow him to get cut down by those anti-large AP spears for the Wood Elves. But the Fey Enchantress, the lady herself, also in here. Pegasus Knight's going to drop down for a nice charge against those Dryads there. Of course, the magic damage will be very good. It looks like they also took out the remaining Way Watchers as well. We've got more peasants back from route, able to follow up, and you can see Zablaski's overchased here with these Dryads and these War Dancers pretty severely. We've also got more Knights Errant over here trying to clean up the remainders of the Sisters of Thorn. Although the Sisters of Thorn have excellent physical resistance and combat stats, they don't necessarily want to fight Knights Errant in melee, not necessarily super cost effective. They're not going to lose very badly, but they're not necessarily going to win very decisively either. Meanwhile, over here, BRETONNIAN's continuing to push the pocket. Again, War Dancers and You've even got some Way Watchers in here as well. Way Watchers getting run over a little bit. More healing for Bretonia as an Earthblood comes in here for the defenders and for the Paladins as well. One of the Paladins, or it looks like actually the Royal Pegasus Knights, both came back, both getting some good healing. So far, both managed to get an XP Chevron, it looks like. Maybe one of them hasn't, but still. They're going to get back up in the air. Fey Enchantress has taken some damage, but she's helping to give that nice Mortis effect in the late game here, and once Hadris sees that he's going to be able to get some of these units isolated, like this Lady, for example, she's out here isolated from the rest of her army, having already been routed off, and now she's going to get chased off here, it looks like, by the Paladin. So, a tough spot for the Wood Elves. Obviously, losing the leadership is pretty big, but he does still have quite a few relatively healthy units here. The the Spell Singer will help hold things together here. A lot of the cav for Bretonia is also getting worn down as well. Enfeebling Foe on the Royal Pegasus Knights, very good, taking especially their melee defense down to only 3. But here comes the Paladin. He's going to go in for the assassination against the Spell Singer, obviously. And more than a match for her in combat, but it does look like the Eternal Guards will be able to distract him effectively enough. That being said, the Royal Pegasus Knights then come in for a charge against her, get a good full surround here, and with the Paladin supporting, that is going to be the end of days for the Spell Singer. Meanwhile, we still got the regrouping War Dancers and more over here. You can see the balance power actually slightly turns in the Wood Elves' favor as the Lady comes back, is able to rout off the Paladin with her ranged attacks there. Probably is going to honestly pick him off there. And yeah, the Fey Enchantress actually routed as well from the Eternal Guard there. So once she comes back, that does equalize the balance of power a little bit there. But things are honestly very, very close still. Royal Pegasus Knights managed to get their second XP Chevron. Other units still working on their first, but the peasants and some of the knights not holding up super well. But the one advantage, of course, that Pegasi give you is their blinding fast speed, able to pick out isolated units, get them quickly off the battlefield, and yeah, Hadris is going to need to use that in this late game situation, as there are a number of units kind of isolated from the main force of the Wood Elves here, especially this unit of War Dancers, which just got charged by these Knights Errant, but unfortunately they don't quite have the sustained stats with how tattered they are to actually finish that one out there. So, oh man, what a beautiful shot with the castle in the background. Those Knights Errant unfortunately going to get seen off here, but yeah. As I mentioned, the Pegasi giving you a significant mobility advantage. They're going to come over here with the Fey Enchantress. Zablaski realizes, uh-oh, these War Dancers are caught out here all alone. They're going to form up into a bit of a square formation so that they can weather this charge a little bit better here. But not looking great for them as the Knights of Bretonia approach from every angle here, and their woodland brethren are still over in the forest there, unfortunately. So, Fey Enchantress comes in to break the bracing, not that they have a bracing bonus, but still, to force a nice blob. And then the Pegasus Knights and Knights Errant come in for the hammer and anvil, you know, from both sides, because, you know, clearly you need the hammer to also be swinging through the air. But yeah, those War Dancers just get absolutely wrecked there. Shadow's Coil, the dance, trying to give them more melee defense, but at the end of the day, not really going to be enough for them to hold out there. That does tip the balance of power pretty significantly, losing that relatively healthy unit, and so from this point on, it's just a matter of cleanup for Hadris to take home the win here. So we'll fast forward a little bit as he forms up one more battle line here, and we're going to get the final phase underway. So you can see the Glady still fighting here very impressively, but here comes the Fey Enchantress. We'll keep it nice and close as she comes in. We got the Knights of Bretonia also charging. Oh man, the Pegasus Knights swoop down from the air, and this should pretty much be game. The peasants come in with their pitchforks and their spears. Oh man, that's a little bit dangerous though. Obviously the Fey Enchantress needs to not get sniped here. That's a potential way for the Wood Elves to come back at this point, but even just with how many Pegasus Knights are remaining, we've got this one unit here. That did pick up their first XP Chevron rather. Still fighting very healthy. This other unit, very tattered, but again, still fighting. The Paladin also very key here in this late game, being so full of health and vitality. He is significantly weighing on that balance of power again. So yeah, all these Wood Elf units want to rout here, and especially once the Fey Enchantress comes in, drops a rear charge, and starts to drop her debuff effects as well. Going to be a pretty brutal time for the Wood Elves. So very well played to both players. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. We'll just keep it nice and close as the game winds down here. Spell Singer having a nice duel with the Fey Enchantress here, along with the Glady. Here comes the Paladin though. Unhorses the Glady actually. Wow, just straight up kills her, and the Spell Singer with the two Pegasus Knights and the Fey Enchantress. How about those Pegasus Knights fighting just about to the last man there? And that is one of the benefits of Pegasus Knights. If you can keep them healthy, keep them on the field, they will absolutely pay out. So like I said, very well played to both players. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. Always a good time to see the Royal Pegasus Knights get some really good work done. This is definitely a really strong Wood Elf build, I would say. There are a few things, you know, especially the terrain in that situation, I do think helped Zablasky out quite a bit. But as far as this matchup goes, I still think that it's going to be, even with the changes to the Wood Elves, like the changes to the Regiment of Renown, Wild Riders, and so on, I still think it's going to be an uphill battle for the Wood Elves in most situations. Knights Errant are just so cost-effective here. You can see 79 kills, 64 against Wood Elves is really great. 94, obviously, for the defenders as well. But yeah, Royal Pegasus Knights, 118, 108. Lots of XP chevrons. And the Fey Enchantress as well. That drain for the Fey Enchantress, pretty underrated here, as it was able to drain out a lot of those Wood Elf units. For the Wood Elf side, I mean, obviously taking advantage of that terrain was a great play by Zablasky. It helped mitigate a lot of the damage of those Knights Errant, and he was also, you know, really using that Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma and, you know, helping to debuff his opponent's speed, combining that with a Curse of Anrehir, of course, in order for these War Dancers and other, you know, Eternal Guards and stuff to get good damage in on the Knights Errant. Knights Errant definitely could have done a lot better, but personally, I definitely see what Zablasky's going for here, but I actually favor Lore of Life for that specific purpose. Not only can you heal your own units, of course, which is always nice, but Lore of Life, actually, most people forget, and Hadris actually used the spell here. Awakening of the Wood, I think, for the Wood Elves is actually a very effective way to slow down enemy heavy cavalry. If you compare that to Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma, Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma lasts for 14 seconds. I forget how long the speed debuff for Awakening of the Wood lasts, but it is a more significant debuff. Looks like only 12 seconds, maybe. But 48% speed versus 24, obviously, is a much, much better speed debuff. And, of course, you also still have Lore of Life, so you can take, like, Awakening of the Wood, for example, and then maybe Shield of Thorns to give yourself more physical resistance, maybe Flesh to Stone to get more armor, or even just Regrowths to get straight-up healing. But, yeah, you guys have seen, if you looked in the, you know, the past days of my channel way, way back in the day, I used the Ancient Tree Man with Awakening of the Wood in order to stop up Bretonnian heavy cavalry. I actually am a really big fan of the Ancient Tree Man here, just because of the, you know, his expert charge defense. He's got physical resistance, really heavy armor as well, good AP, Fear and Terror, good melee defense, and magic damage. So something like this, where he has Awakening of the Wood and then Regrowth to heal himself, I think is a really, really strong kit. Of course, the high mass of the big tree also helps stop up cavalry charges, so just kind of my 2 cents on that one. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.